My name is Shlomo Shapira. I have more than 30 years experience in the Israeli high-tech. Most of the time I spent within international medical equipment companies in Israel, and I also gained experience with marketing, sales and R&D, and work with our subsidiaries across the world, mainly in China, in Switzerland and United States. My R&D experience started with a small startup in the Technion incubator here in the Technion campus 30 years ago. Nowadays, I'm managing a consortium on behalf of the chief scientist, a consortium which mainly is dealing with cancer tissues in the colon or the GI tract system, and our goal is to find out if we can find and analyze those tissues in the early stage of the cancer and to try and do virtual colonoscopy. I'm graduate at the Technion, the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. My presentation at the Professor Schertman course was dealing about the medical engineering and medical industries in Israel. I gained most of my experience in that industry, and I concentrated on different aspects in that industry. My over 30 years experience, my lesson learned in that time period was that we are very challenging, and the concept of that industry in Israel is different like in other places in the world. And what I mean is that our business model is totally different. We are very good in finding creative solutions, and then we are looking for the problems that we are going to solve. And that gave us a lot of advantages in that industry. So I gave few paragraphs, or my presentation divided into few sections which dealt with different aspects of that industry. The second one was a different type of imaging equipment, which I was when I was member of different activities like marketing, R&D centers and sales, and I gave some examples about those capital equipment. For example, the initiative to present to the market the first dual slice CT, how we market our unique MRI in different places in the world, the way of presenting our equipment to main research centers in the world like Madame Curie in Paris, and in other way we sold them to different hospitals in Israel and other places in the world. I gave another example to tell the students about differences between therapy and imaging. And for example, what the difference between the same methodology about ultrasound, that we can use it as a treatment or as an imaging. What is the difference between catheterization, virtual catheterization, or invasive catheterization? Another example I gave is about the mammography equipment, which is, at least to say, non-friendly equipment for the women who have to pass that. examination, and for my opinion and my experience, what will be the best way to improve that kind of imaging. Another example I gave is about the colonoscopy. There are 4 ways of imaging the colon in the body, and I showed 4 examples of what will be, at least to my opinion, which methodology will take the market. Another thing I spoke about that is what, to my opinion, will be the next Microsoft or the next Google in that industry. And to my belief, there are 2 parameters for being in that position. First of all, we are looking for imaging without radiation. We know the damage that the radiation is doing in our body. And the second parameter will be a non-invasive method of imaging without, for example, the difference between the catheterization, in-body catheterization or virtual catheterization. I saw the importance of Professor Shechtman's course in the way I saw the transition that the Israeli medical equipment industry, the transition that was in that industry during the last 30 years, when we start with large companies, and during the 90s we moved from large companies to some business model, and during the beginning of the current century, we moved from business into business model which is looking for IPs and exits, and that transition caused a damage to the Israeli industries. We no longer can see large companies acting in Israel, and I am afraid that the graduate of the Technion will have difficulties to find some jobs in that industry, because not everyone can be an entrepreneur. And we can do the entrepreneurship also in large corporates, etc. But in order to do that, we have to change our business model of those companies. I believe that Professor Shechtman's course is dealing with that problematic situation, and I wanted to contribute for that trend, or somehow to change that trend. Okay. To tell the students that they can join. What is standing behind Professor Shechtman's initiative for the last 23 or 26 years is to give the students different approach, different way of thinking, and I really want to encourage that way of thinking. So that's why I gave my lecture.